Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into a pretty radical idea. What if the real key to inner peace isn't about winning arguments or proving your point, but about giving up the fight entirely? We're going to explore a philosophy that really challenges our basic instincts about conflict. Let's start with a few words that probably feel pretty familiar. First one up, arguing. It just feels like a constant, doesn't it? It's kind of the default setting for any disagreement.
And then, of course, there's competing. That drive to be better, to be on top, to prove that you're the one who's got it right.
Or how about debating? When we try to put a bit of a formal structure on our disagreements. But let's be honest, the goal is often exactly the same. My viewpoint has to win.
And all of this, well, it can just spiral into outright fighting. Raw, unfiltered conflict. These words really define so much of how we interact with each other. But what if that whole framework is just flawed from the start? Okay, let's get into our first section. The source material we're looking at today suggests that contention isn't just something that happens every now and then. Nope, it's the basic, default state of our world.
And you really do see it everywhere, right? It's woven into the very fabric of our lives. We see it at the dinner table, we see it in our politics, we see it between countries. It scales from the smallest little disagreement all the way up to the biggest global disputes. It's like a universal language we all somehow learn to speak.
So if we want to find a way out of this cycle, we first have to get super clear on what the problem really is. And the philosophy we're digging into has a very, very specific definition for contention.
Now just look at how broad this definition is. We are not just talking about shouting matches here. Contention is any act where the goal, the real aim, is to force your will, your view of reality, onto somebody else. And this is where things take a really fascinating turn. The text suggests that underneath all the noise, what we're really fighting for is energy. It's that validation, that feeling of power you get from being right, from winning, from just feeling like you're in control. Okay, so if contention is just this big struggle for energy, what's the price of admission? Well, according to this philosophy, the price we pay is unbelievably high. This table lays it out with this incredibly stark logic. The argument is simple. It does not matter who you are or why you think you're fighting. The second that struggle begins, something fundamental is lost. Kindness just evaporates.
And that leads us to the text's most challenging and maybe controversial claim. The idea here is that there are no good arguments, no righteous debates. From this point of view, your justifications don't matter. The act of contending in and of itself is a step away from kindness and therefore a step away from good.
So, wow. If our world is really built on this constant contention, what's the alternative? Well, the text doesn't just leave us with the problem, it offers a pretty clear vision for a different way to live. What's so interesting is that this philosophy defines peace not by what it has, but by what it's missing. It's a state you get to not by adding something new, but by consciously removing that deep-seated instinct to fight.
Hey, does this list look a little familiar? It's the exact opposite of those words we started with. The path to this state of being, then, is about systematically getting rid of every single form of contention in your life.
To make this all feel more real, the text uses these incredibly powerful, almost blunt analogies. This first one gets right to it. A cow and a pig live in totally different worlds. What kind of truth could they possibly agree on by arguing? It's just impossible.
And here is the absolute heart of it. Real confidence in your own path doesn't need someone else's approval. If you're the cow, you just keep on being a cow. You don't need the pig to sign off on it. And that makes the whole argument completely pointless.
And if you thought that last one was sharp, this one is even more so. The bee is drawn to one thing, the fly to something completely different. The text is making a really radical point here. What one person finds nourishing, another might find disgusting. To argue about which one is better is just a total waste of everyone's time.
And this is the beautiful, powerful conclusion to that analogy. It's not about making a judgment on the fly. It's about making a choice for yourself. You just state what nourishes you. My food is flower nectar. And you let the other person go after what nourishes them. In that moment, there's no conflict. There's just two different paths. And this really brings us to the core challenge of this whole philosophy. It's not about winning a debate. It's a fundamental choice that each of us has to make about how we want to exist in the world. This one sentence, it basically sums up the entire idea. It's a complete letting go of that need to be right. It's this radical act of just granting other people the space to live their own truth, even if you totally disagree, without feeling like you have to step in and fix it.
And that's the powerful question I want to leave you with. In a world that is constantly screaming at us to fight for what we believe in, this perspective asks us to think about a totally different kind of victory, the strength to simply refuse the fight. Thanks for tuning in.